We're live. Hello, people. How are you this lovely Sunday? Well,
I
it's
am
lovely.
ecstatic. I'm ecstatic to be here.
Why?
Well, because you guys know that I love to hang out with you. Because
Oh,
I
of
don't, I
course.
don't have any real friends in Spain. Everybody hates me, and I hate everyone. So it's
Oh.
cool to be here.
Oh, speaking of, I forgot to ask you backstage if you have any stories from the USSS.
Oh well, that's a good question. I'm sure some shit has happened.
Just try
But
to
since
find something English and
I,
drop it
I,
in the private chat.
all right, try to find something. Yeah, I came completely unprepared this time.
Yeah, okay.
I
All
apologize.
right. So, I'm your host, Jez. With me is the man, the myth, the legend, the Midnight, who is off doing something at the moment. Below me, getting topped, absolutely topped, is El Hombre de Manteca. Canalgas con olor a caca.
Canalgas.
This is one of the reasons why I'm ecstatic to be here.
Getting absolutely topped by me. Yeah.
Yeah, you're always on top, man. Yeah.
Then straight from the desert of Mexico, using a cactus for an antenna and a taco box for his computer. It's a Mega Arts.
Hola.
So how's everyone's weeks going?
It's been okay. Let me see. I've been drawing a lot. I get paid. I've been paying to draw again, which is always a good thing. Uh, I didn't contract any fatal diseases, which is always good. I was watching The Substitute with my dad until I had to split to come here. So that's a good way to a good way to top it up, to top it all
Ex-
off.
Explain the substitute.
You haven't seen The Substitute?
I don't
The
think
one with
so.
Tom Berenger from 19, I think it's 1996, something like mid 90s.
Nope.
Well, it's one of those movies that couldn't be made today. It's about this high school teacher. It's like kind of like Dangerous Minds. Uh, she teaches in an extremely problematic high school in Miami, and she gets assaulted by one of her students. And so turns out her boyfriend is a mercenary, is a professional soldier, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna fuck these guys up. So he infiltrates the high school, pretending to be a substitute teacher, and discovers that there's an entire drug running operation, funded by public funds. Actually, it's pretty fucking awesome. It's this white guy infiltrating a high school full of black and Hispanic people, and killing them all. Like, that's great. And killing everybody a faggot. Pure 90s awesomeness.
Yes, of course. God, I miss those days.
Mm,
And Mega, what's been going on with you this week?
Uh, the usual. I got my new batch of commissions for this month. I got paid. In the meantime, I have been busting the balls of SJWs on Twitter. And what else? Oh, I finally managed to accomplish one of my childhood dreams, which was to see from the beginning to end Enter the Dragon without interruptions.
oh shit! You never saw Enter the Dragon like
Oh,
fully on one sitting?
No, it always was I had to work or I had to go to sleep. It was the first time I managed to see it
Shit.
on one sit.
It's
nice.
it's probably the only Bruce Lee movie that I actually enjoy, like as a movie, because every other Bruce Lee movie is kind of like crappy, like it doesn't really have a plot.
Mm. Yeah, and one has to admire all the influence that it has in many franchises because
Mhm.
it was a huge influence on Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Dragon Ball.
Yeah, it's totally Mortal Kombat. Like Shang Tsung is probably Mr. Hand, but like magical powers.
Yeah, and the use of all these kind of fighters from all over the world is what they was using on Street Fighter.
Mm-hmm. Uh, dang it out. I was also going to say yesterday when I was out on my little yarn excursion, I was there was a post that was selling sugarcane extract, like sugarcane juice, and the ad had a picture of Bruce Lee, and I showed it to the fat one, and I'm like, "Hey, remember that Jean-Claude Van Damme Algo Robina? Well, get ready for Bruce Lee cane juice."
Ironically, giving cane in Spanish can be translated loosely as kicking ass.
Well, I remember that. Well, the daughter of Bruce Lee, who is the one who handles all his name and franchise,
Mhm.
released it and a line of energy drinks. I think like 5 years ago, 6 years ago.
So, what are they called? Something funny? I hope so.
Uh, I think so.
Like Bruce Lee, as in brewery. Bruce Lee.
Uh,
Or Juice Lee.
Just, just.
it's called Oshi.
Oh,
Oshi Vitamin Energy.
oh, shit.
Oh, nice.
And the can is actually nice looking. I need to get one.
If they're still around.
Why should not be around?
I don't know, maybe people got crazy over it, like the Logan Paul KSI drink.
Oh,
Oh, fuck
I thought
Logan
you,
Paul.
I thought you were gonna say maybe because a secret martial arts sect destroyed all the cans so as not to give the white people give away their secrets.
Maybe that too. I mean we
It's
did
not to
find out that
happen with the Lee family.
I mean we did find out that the kumite actually exists, the 100-man kumite.
Oh yeah, no, like, kumite just means fight in Japanese. It means like sparring.
Kumite, kumite,
Yep.
kumite.
What doesn't exist is whatever the fuck was going on inside of Frank Duck's mind. Frank Duck's mind. That shit doesn't exist. But it made
Dude,
for a pretty funny movie, to be honest.
Mhm.
Don't
I
you
was
think it would have been more interesting if it turns out that Frank Dux was a guy crippling his bed and imagines everything? He was in a coma.
Like he just like he wakes up and he wakes up and it was all like a paranoid dream.
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
wakes up in the hospital with like a catheter up his ass.
yeah, and that he was
I'm
completely.
gonna fight the kumite. It's okay,
And
Mr.
then
Dux.
no,
Let's
no,
get you
no.
back to bed.
No. I like to I would like to see he wakes up in the hospital, and then that Asian guy who was like the bad guy was like
Olo.
his doctor.
Olo.
It was like, what movie was that? Oh shit! I know there's a movie. I think it was them. Like there's a movie in which like the chick wakes up in a mental hospital at the end of the movie, and every character in the movie is actually either a doctor or a patient or something, and she's been hallucinating the entire thing.
Wasn't that
Oh.
Jawbreaker?
Ah,
Not Jawbreaker. It was a
Sucker Punch.
Sucker Punch.
Sucker Punch. Yeah.
No, but it's stated. It's not like a reveal. It's stated from the beginning that she is in a mental hospital. I think it's them by Robert Harmon, the guy who directed The Hitcher, which is incidentally one of my favorite movies. Yeah,
the-
it's like
the-
it's not too good, but
The problem is there's like a really ironclad rule. I don't know. Do you guys know who Robert McKee is?
yes, he's like
His
a
name-
script writing teacher, right?
He's like the script doctor of Hollywood, or at least he
Uh-huh.
was, and he teaches the course that everyone takes when they get to Hollywood. And his book Story is actually, it's really, really, really good. It's worth, if you're a writer and you want to write for screen, read Story. And one of the ironclad rules, like it's one of the ones that he's like, do not ever break this fucking rule. And the rule is, thou shalt not make it all a dream.
I completely agree.
And,
Yeah. Have you seen the movie adaptation with Nicolas Cage?
Oh yeah, McKee's in it.
Yeah, right. I think it's played by Brian Cox, but that's him, right?
That's Robert McKee. Yeah.
Okay.
It like, of course, rules get broken, but this one, if you think you're good enough to break that rule, you're not good enough to break that rule.
It's not like it's a rule for me. It's just too too bad of a cop out for a story.
It's
Like
a
I don't
worse
know what
Deus Ex Machina than time travel.
I don't know how to
Mhm.
fix this story. I wrote myself into
Yeah.
a corner. I'll just make it all a dream. Oh, fuck yourself. You're not a writer. You're a
You know,
hack.
Saint Elsewhere famously did it, but they famously did it well, and
What
barely,
about
honestly.
what about Memento?
It
But it
wasn't
wasn't
all a
all a
dream.
dream. It was just like jumbled memories.
Yeah.
Okay.
The things in Memento actually happened. It's the order in which they happened and whether or not the main character had any idea what the fuck was going on when they happened is in question. That's fine.
The guy
But like,
basically like the plot twist is that basically everything happened, but he mind kills himself every time
Yeah.
to continue being how he is because he doesn't know what else to be. That's the plot twist.
Lost is a perfect example of
Yes.
breaking that rule bad
Mm.
and like failing miserably. Everyone that fell for the rule break and Lost is a fucking retard.
Another example could be American Psycho, because Bateman proves to be an unreliable narrator.
Yeah, it's not stated that it's a dream, but it may all have happened just in his mind. He's just insane, and you can like trust him.
And that's the thing, like with American Psycho and with Fight Club,
Oh,
Mm.
yeah.
it all could have happened. It's not explicitly stated what did and did not happen.
Or what about the movie of Joanna the Arc with Mila Jovovich?
I never saw it.
You never saw it.
Never saw it.
It's pretty good. It's from Luc Besson, the guy who directed The Fifth Element, Leon the
I-
Professional.
Wasn't it called like The Messenger?
Oh, maybe in the US. It was
Yeah.
Joan
That
of
sounds-
Arc in Europe.
But the thing with Joan of Arc is that she is speculated to have been schizophrenic. So we're making a story, and I don't know what happens in the movie, but I'm guessing that there's some sort of questionability of the narrative brought into play, right?
Yeah,
Main characters-
because
Yeah.
in the movie, when Joanna the Arc is captured by the English, in her cell, Satan appears to her, or someone she thinks it's Satan. And Satan tells her that from all the possibilities of how she got the sword that in her words was delivered to her by God, Satan presents to her a shit ton of possibilities. And he says, but from all of them, you choose the one of God giving you the fucking sword.
Yeah, I remember that movie now. Like it's Dustin Hoffman, right?
Who, the devil?
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's the devil. It's just like this robbed figure that appears to Joan
Yeah,
when nobody else is around, so he may just be in her mind.
yeah.
And like I think that's I think it's Dustin Hoffman and at like this pivotal moment of the movie, he begins to make her question her own faith because until that point she's been like completely unflinching in her beliefs, and suddenly like this guy I don't like it's stated that he's the devil because I don't think they never like
It's implied that he's the devil.
because he's like this messenger of a higher power, but I think it's never stated like whether if it's like he's like a positive power or a negative power, like maybe like a devil, like a demon or an angel or something. And yeah, that's a pretty nice way of doing it.
Ambiguity isn't the same thing as making it all a dream either. Like ambiguity's fine when used well.
I'm checking the cast, and it is credited as the conscience of Joanna the Arc.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Another movie that makes it like you have to see it several times to get it, quotation marks, is Spider by David Cronenberg. I think it's like from 2003.
Which I've never seen.
It's not Cronenberg's best, but it's interesting as he's trying to make us see reality from a schizophrenic's point of view. And I think it's the only movie to do so. And it's a story of Ray Fiennes, who's been released from a mental hospital, and he begins to remember the events that put him there, which is that he killed his mother because he thought she wasn't his mother. He thought she had been replaced by someone else, which is like a pretty common belief among schizophrenics. And we see what happened that led him to believe that, and the things that actually happened he was there present as a kid, and like he's actually physically in the memories. Like if it's happening in his mother's kitchen when he was a kid, he's a kid, but Ray Fiennes is also on the scene, like interacting with the memories, and you realize that the things that he believes happened, he wasn't there as a kid. He's only there as Ray Fiennes. So when you see that, you realize, oh shit, he may have just imagined like half of the plot because he's schizophrenic.
That's interesting, and I'm not against the use of memory as a what's going on here thing, but you definitely have to be careful with it because it gets fart huffy real fast.
Oh,
Real fast.
Oh, Paul.
Paulo Costa has joined us and he says, "Good evening. This is your daily warning not to use the gas stove the same way AOC does."
Open up!
These
This is the
fucking
stove
people.
police.
These fucking people, man.
Oh my god!
Everything they tell us to do, they do the exact opposite.
This happened because of fucking COVID. Like they saw that we could like swallow any fucking restriction they came up with, and they were like, okay, it's like, it's party time. We're gonna restrict everything now. Like there's no limits.
Did you?
Yeah,
Did you
I know
ever
that
have?
they're gonna try to. Sorry, Vinay.
No, go
I was
ahead.
saying they're trying to get Paris to become a 15-minute city.
What does that mean?
15-minute cities are like where there's barely any cars and you usually go by either walking or bikes, electric scooters, that type of deal.
That will never work out the way they plan.
Yeah.
That is so
Nothing ever
fucking
works.
unrealistic. Yeah.
Nothing ever works the way they plan. They just do a lot of damage in the process.
But yeah, you were saying Midnight?
You ever when you were growing up in school have that person, usually a girl, that for some reason had a desk right next to the teacher's desk and you could never figure out why, and they thought that they were a mini teacher. Does this ring any bells for anyone? This is in multiple schools in multiple classes. There was often like a girl, a fat girl, who had a desk right next to the teacher's desk. And
the only time my desk was next to the teacher was when I was acting up. I'm pretty sure I had some sort of attention deficit when I was younger and couldn't like pay attention in class. So what my teacher did was she had to move my desk over to her desk so she could always keep an eye on me and make sure that I do my work and not be weird.
But that's kind of what it ultimately eventually boiled down to when I figured it out years later, is that this, most often a fat girl, had behavior problems, and she would freak the fuck out with separation anxiety. And instead of being sat down in an empty classroom until she learned how to fucking behave herself, the complaining girl, who learned it through her complaining mother, got her way and got the special kid seat next to the teacher. But that made her think that she was one with the teacher and above the students. So that made her think that none of the rules applied to her. And of course, she'd always be a snitch, and she'd always be a person that caused trouble for others and played the victim. That is these people. These are the same fucking people. They pissed and moaned until they got a seat next to the teacher, and now they think that they are above all of us.
Yeah, I had one of those when I was in elementary school. But the thing is that in the moment we passed to middle high school, that ended because the teachers on middle high school didn't give a shit about her. Pretty much they left clear to her since the first day that you're in middle high school, not elementary high school. You go in elementary school, so we don't give a shit of who you are.
Well, also what happens in high school, I don't know if it's the same for Mexican schools, but you're changing classes. So it's a different teacher every hour.
Yeah, it was the same thing.
Yeah.
We changed teachers. Well, in some cases, because you know how cheap Mexican schools tends to be, we have the same teacher for 3 different signatures.
Yeah, it was the same here. Like that's just an example of how public education works.
In my case, it's worse because it was a private school.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
F
Yeah.
Mexico F.
I remember that the teacher who gave me science, physics, biology, and later the beginner medical course was the same person.
Huh.
That's pretty funny.
Let's see. Hero says there was this one person who always lied about everyone, and everyone pretty much hated her for it. She lied about me, and I still hate her. This was when I was in elementary school.
Yeah. It's the same thing, man. These people, they think that they are the authority, and they think that they think that they're Eloy, and they think that as Eloy they should live in plenty and reign over the rest of us as their servants. And it's kind of mind-boggling how they refuse to see that the hypocrisy between how they behave and what they say they believe. Like, bro, if you're going to be an authoritarian, at least be honest about it. At least say, look, I want to rule over all of you, and I want the special stuff while you get nothing.
Yeah, and Hero also says, also unrelated, I'm keeping my gas stove. Government cannot have it. AOC be damned. I mean, AOC should know. She's Hispanic. She probably grew up in a house with a gas stove.
Yeah, she's going to keep hers. She's not getting rid of hers.
Yeah, AOC is now going to put her fellow brown people at a disadvantage if they take away all the gas stoves.
Well, you know that's how it works. Like restrictions are always just for the small people, always for us plebs. They will get to keep their private jets and their armored motorcades and their fucking Kobe steaks and all that. It's us who have to like travel in bicycles to our 15-minute neighborhoods and eat fucking cricket burgers.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I also agree with you, Hero. I like the time machine too, and I want the Morlock and Eloy future.
Just for a record, I don't have a problem with cricket burgers. I mean, it's animal meat.
I mean,
there are parasites in crickets that.
Actually, I think most insects have chitin or chitin. I don't know how you say that. And it's chitin, right? And it's proven to be cancerous or like cancer giving for human people. It's not good for us.
Yeah, I would be careful about eating the bugs, man. I'm not saying. I mean, I love lobster and I love crab.
No, my mistake. I'm mistaking crickets with grasshoppers because here in Mexico we eat the grasshoppers.
That's true.
Yeah, but you don't eat them like all the time for every single meal. They're more like a snack.
Yeah, they're like an appetizer. Like we eat snails here as well, like the French. But it's like it's not a full meal. It's just like pinchos or some shit like that, you know?
Yeah, Canales isn't chomping down on a gooey old snail burger.
Dude, fuck that. We have like the best fucking cows in the entirety of Europe here. Fuck that shit.
I give you that. I have been in Spain and the meat is awesome.
Yep.
So many goddamn cows in Spain that you ended up fighting them for sport.
I know.
And for honor.
I fucking love it, man. I wish I could be in there stabbing me some moo-moos. And people say it's barbarism. No, when the bulls are killed, they immediately go to the butcher shop, and then is it tradition that some of the meat gets handed out to like poor people?
Plus, that's not the most barbarous thing that we do in Spain. Actually, you get to, if you're a bullfighter and you win the bullfighting, you get to keep the ears and the balls of the bull. I don't know if you guys.
I'm against bullfighting, but also it's not my country or my culture. Like I don't know that I'd want to go to a bullfight.
I think like I'm an animal lover, and I always feel for the bull because as a big furry guy with massive balls, I relate to him. So I don't really like it when they kill it. So I would like, if I was like the absolute total emperor, autocratic emperor of Spain, like I would legalize bullfighting, but I would make it illegal to kill the bull.
Well, the killing isn't what bothers me. I'm fine with the killing because I've got to kill animals to eat them. It's the slow torturous process of
Yeah, you have to
stabbing it
humiliate
and
them.
stabbing it and stabbing. Like
Yeah.
I'm not into that. I
Yeah.
just like I get it. I don't want to participate.
Oh shit, Heroes dropping a truth bomb. Unrelated, Howard Stern has a wig?
Oh, we've
Oh.
known that for years. We've known that he's had a wig for at least 30 years.
Bummer.
So is he like bald or
Yeah.
ah? Then he hates the bullfighters. Yep.
He probably
Anyway.
he probably had a wig by his mid 30s at the latest.
All right, let's get into some of the stories today. So, first off, to go in with our headlines. Be gone.
Yeah.
Lisa Marie Presley dead at 54 after cardiac arrest. Lisa Marie Presley has died. Lisa was pronounced dead at the LA area hospital where she was taken after suffering cardiac arrest Thursday morning. She was rushed to the hospital after housekeeper found her unresponsive at her Calabasas home, and her ex-husband Danny Kill was there and performed CPR on her until paramedics arrived and took over. And then they administered at least one dose of epinephrine during resuscitation efforts. Apparently the EMTs were able to regain a pulse before she was transported to the hospital. And of course, in case you didn't figure it out, Lisa Marie is the daughter of Elvis Presley and Priscilla, who unfortunately got really big in Scientology.
Whenever someone in their 50s in show business dies suddenly, up until the time when the world shut down, I would insist that it had to be related to one thing. Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
I was gonna say la cocaína. Yeah.
But ever since our entire world got shut down and poisoned by Pfizer, I think that it's that or the boof or both. And I gotta wonder how the boof interacts with people who were regular cocaine users.
Well, I know that you are not supposed to take it if you have like hypertension or are prone to like tachycardia and stuff like that, which is one of the many reasons why my dad didn't take it. Just he has he had an aneurysm, had to get surgery and all that, so he can't get his tension too high. So yeah, if you're doing cocaine and you get that shit into your body, I don't know what can happen, man. Nothing good.
Well, we know that they didn't test it for human efficacy, so that means they didn't test it to see how it interacts with long-term regular cocaine users. And show business is full of long-term regular cocaine users.
Which, tangentially speaking, don't you love it when they lecture you on poverty and oppression and discrimination and shit, while happily getting through their nose the product of decades of forced labor in third world countries?
Total, like, not. I mean, exploitation and oppression is what it takes to create a cocaine production market.
Yeah, I just fucking love that shit.
But yeah, they say Lisa Marie's mother, Priscilla Presley, and the Presley family are shocked and devastated by the tragic death of Lisa Marie. And of course, she married Michael Jackson. And she made an album. I really haven't heard her music.
I doubt it's very good.
Yeah.
But I see Hero92694 clarifies that Lisa Marie left Scientology in 2014.
Yeah, she left Scientology, but her mom's, I think Priscilla is still big into it.
I do think that Scientology is probably what saved Tom Cruise from, the people that wanted to boof him.
Okay.
The people that wanted to put it in his butt.
What about I thought you were talking about like the Koof Boof. So
No, I mean no. He didn't he have a nutty on set about having people vaccinated and demanding it.
ah,
I think that was him.
all I know is that he freaked out about Brooke Shields having like Prozac after
Yeah,
she
right.
had her kid or something. Let's see. She married Michael Jackson and then she married Nicolas Cage like a couple months like
What an exquisite taste, man.
like
What
2
an
years
exquisite-
later.
Hollywood relationships are so fucking weird, dude. I don't like people looking at my relationships. I don't like flaunting them in front of people. I don't like people
yeah,
thinking they have an opinion on it.
She wasn't looking good at the Golden Globes.
I mean, I've seen the videos, and she looks ill and like confused, and she stutters and shit. So
Mhm.
That's
who
awful.
knows?
So yeah, they were at the Golden Globes to see this guy play her dad in the Elvis movie. She's survived by 3 children, actress Riley and twin girls Harper and Finley, and her son Benjamin died by self-end in 2020.
All right, that's really sad.
A lot of that going on in the business, in the show business industry. Actually, a lot of young people self-deleting.
Yeah.
Those people, they're constantly surrounded by other people.
Yep, Nicholas Coppola. And then Paulo says, it's tragic Lisa Marie died so young, but ultimately inconsequential. Unlike her father, she
Yeah.
never really accomplished anything of note.
I mean, her
I mean-
her accomplishment was being Elvis's daughter. That's pretty much it.
It fucking
It's not a
sucks
knock.
because you're gonna live your entire life under Elvis's shadow. You'll never be as big as he was.
You got to think too, like Elvis, from everything that I can tell, he wasn't a bad person. He wasn't a malignant or a malicious person. He was fucked up, but he wasn't like someone that went out looking to harm other people.
Yeah,
And
no,
he
he always struck me as like this big dumb farm boy, like
Yeah.
just wanted to play music and have fun.
He just wanted people to be his buddy and listen to his
Yeah.
cool music. I think that's all he really wanted. And Tom Parker is a piece of shit who had them all strung out and took advantage of them and exploited them. And he died sadly and tragically. And you got to think, like, that poor dude, as he's dying, probably wants what's best for his kids. And look at how his daughter ends up. That sucks.
Yeah, it's really sad. Anyways, another passing to note, we go from the Princess of Rock and Roll to one of the fucking guitar legends,
Mm.
Jeff Beck, known for the Yardbirds, along with Eric Clapton and Jimmy Page. He died of bacterial meningitis. Easily one of the best guitarists that ever graced Earth. So, yep, influential English guitarist Jeff Beck, who rose to fame playing with the Yardbirds and later fronted the Jeff Beck Group, died January 10th, age 78, after contracting bacterial meningitis. And this is all about, let's see. How do you know if you have bacterial meningitis? The most common early symptoms include headache, fever with cold hands and feet, a stiff neck, and a dislike of bright lights. Some patients may also develop a rash that does not disappear when a glass is pushed against it. In babies and young children, additional symptoms may include a strange sounding cry and a sore soft spot on the head. But yeah, he didn't have like chilling vaccines. I was hoping we'd talk a little more about like his career, but he was I suggest you, well, maybe after the show I can pull up some Jeff Beck videos, because he was a goat on guitar, I tell you.
Let's
Yeah, he's a pretty
fucking
good guitar
go.
player.
I mean,
Unfortunately, we can't play any of his guitar stuff on here, but I wish we could.
Yeah, after the show maybe, because
Can you like
I
like
think his
play it
I
with your
think
mouth?
his
Like, can you make your music like sing it? That would be pretty cool.
Well, he's a
I
guitar player, so it's hard to do that.
And you're like,
yeah his most uh, crap word his most like well-known song is an instrumental called Beck's Bolero, and I actually have a video up, and it's an
Um,
amazing piece of guitar work.
yeah, you can't play it.
Yeah, but
That's
after
Beck is kind of like Zappa. Like his stuff is not really lyrical stuff. His stuff is guitar composition.
okay, well, what's this? He was in the same hotel that Michael Jackson was in. He was right next door. Who Jeff Beck or Elvis? Let us know. All right, and last passing we need to acknowledge here. Stuntman Robbie Knievel, he died. Robbie Knievel, Daredevil, and son of stuntman Evil Knievel has died, and he was in hospice care battling pancreatic cancer. So here's Evil and Robbie. Robbie, also known as Captain Robbie Knievel, followed in his dad's footsteps at a young age, jumping his bike at only 4 years old and first performing at Evil's show at Madison Square Garden when he was 8. He performed over 350 jumps, setting world records for 20 of them. The most memorable was successfully jumping the fountains at Caesar Palace in 1989, which Evil attempted to do. He also did 30 limousines, jumped over the Grand Canyon jump, and the USS Intrepid jump, to name a few. And his final stunt was in 2011 when he jumped 150 feet above tractor trailer trucks at the Spotlight 29 Casino in Coachella, California. And he also had a show called Knievel's Wild Ride. And of course, we can't play the video to show how epic his stunt was. So, R.I.P. in peace, Robbie Knievel.
F Robbie F. I mean, as a non-American, I'm not really familiar with the Nibbles. I know I heard them being mentioned in several movies and TV shows, and I think and what they were the inspiration behind the movie version of the Ghost Rider.
Well, I mean, Evil Knievel was the direct inspiration for Ghost Rider. There was a period of time where Evil Knievel was the man in the 70s. Like, it was a different time because there was no internet and there was there was television, but it's not like you had 57 channels. You had 4 channels. So there was this spectacle around this guy, this crazy dude on a motorcycle that would just do crazy shit like jump cars with it, and it was something to do. People would show up for it. There were Evil Knievel toys.
Cool.
There was like a toy motorcycle that had a ripcord and a little base. So you click the motorcycle into the little base and you pull the ripcord and it makes the wheel spin and the motorcycle flies out of the ripcord, and you could get like a little jump for it to make it jump over cars. Like Evil Knievel was the man for a little while. And yeah, that's absolutely where Ghost Rider came from.
Cool. I gotta say, I don't think we ever had toys based on actual people here in Spain. Like, we never had like real people who were so big that we felt the need to make action figures of them.
You also didn't have an economy that supported making action figure. You know what I mean?
Well, actually, we did have that's for another time. But we actually had like this parallel pirate industry of action figures that kind of copied American stuff. I gotta tell you guys about that one of these.
Here's some. So Here's some deep Midnight lore. Paulo Costa. Evil Knievel's rival, Rick Rojat, the Human Fly, had a Marvel comic in the 1970s.
Oh.
The very first comic book I ever owned was Human Fly vs. Ghost Rider.
Nice.
Cool.
So the first comic book characters, like aside from Batman and Superman, which were outside of comics to me, like I understood that they came from comics, but I didn't own any Batman or Superman comics. The first comic book characters that I was like, ooh, comic books, was Ghost Rider and the Human Fly.
Okay. Then Hero. Okay.
And we love you. We love you too, Hero. Just so you know.
Yeah. So Hero says that no, Donald Trump was at a hotel and Michael Jackson was in the same hotel with Lisa Marie Presley, and Lisa Marie was having sex with Michael Jackson next to the room where Donald Trump was.
I just, in a hotel room when you hear other people doing it, just pretend it's not happening. Like, just turn up the TV a little bit. It's not happening. Shh, it's none of your business.
Yep, that's. I live that situation almost every day.
Just like when your neighbors bang, just look. It's not happening. Turn up.
And
the
Donald
TV a
Trump
little bit.
heard them. He actually said this to Howard Stern in an interview.
I'm not going to ask any questions. I'm not going to do it.
Oh, okay. So what's been going on with the? So what's been going on in America lately? What's the big story in America? Projection.
Yeah, dude, this is insane. It's the argument about Trump stealing classified documents drives me on my fucking mind, because every time someone brings it up, I'm like, he was president when he took them. He had the right to declassify them. He declassified them. So you don't have to like it, but that's what happened. Okay, he did not break the law. In effect, he made the law on those documents because that was the power of his job.
Basically from November 2022 to January of to this month, about 20 classified government documents were discovered by President Joe Biden's attorneys in his former office at the Penn Biden Center in Washington, D.C., and in his personal residence in Wilmington, Delaware, dating back to his vice presidency with Obama.
And who had access to those documents?
Doesn't say.
The crackhead son that was doing business with the Chinese?
Most likely.
And the Ukrainians, let us not forget that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and right, duh. And
maybe
he
Zelensky was sniffing around when he was visiting.
He was getting Ukrainian prosecutor fired when he had these stolen documents.
Yep. Let's see. The classified documents included intelligence material and briefing memos on foreign countries. I wonder if there's a country that starts with a U and rhymes with Ukraine.
Yeah.
Say. So on January 12th, I guess the Attorney General Merrick Garland appointed this Robert Hur as a special counsel to investigate possible unauthorized removal and retention of classified documents or other records. And then anything else? So the timeline is these attorneys or aides found classified documents, some which were top secret, sensitive, compartmented information dating back to his vice presidency in a locked closet while packing files at the Penn Biden Center for Diplomacy and Global Engagement, which is just fancy global hobo speak for useless. It's a think tank where Biden worked after leaving the government.
Laundering.
In 2017.
It's a center for laundering.
Yep.
He got his payouts through that. That's what that was for.
Let's see. And then the White House said that on the same day of the discovery, it was reported to that what is it? The National Archives and Records Administration. They retrieved the documents the next day, and then they referred the matter to the DOJ. Let's see. The classified documents include U.S. intelligence materials and briefing memos about Ukraine. Called it. Iran and the United Kingdom. And there were a total of 20 documents between the Penn Biden Center and Biden's home in Washington. Let's see. And then a second batch of classified documents were discovered by Biden's attorney in a garage of his home. A one-page classified document was also found in a room adjacent to the garage. And then another document was discovered in the library at Biden's residence.
When Biden's talking about this, for some reason he keeps asserting that they were next to his Corvette. He keeps bringing up his Corvette. Well, they were next to my Corvette. Yeah, and next to my Corvette. Yeah, like as if, like it's almost like his brain thinks that saying the word Corvette will effectively distract from the fact that he did in fact like steal classified documents.
Yeah, because I bet in his dementia-addled brain, he connects Corvette with like being cool, and he's like, oh, the young kids, they like the cool shit. Corvettes are cool. Maybe they'd be like, oh, Biden is so cool. He owns a Corvette.
His brain is stuck in car hop culture. Like that's the area he's stuck in. So he thinks that his buddy Sandy riding in the fucking passenger seat and him going to the car hop to get a cheeseburger is an image that he can throw out there. Yeah. Yes. Or exactly. Is an image that he can throw out there and be like, this is what you pay attention to, not what I was doing when you weren't looking. And it probably worked for most of his career. I mean, it's still
well, I mean, he got rich off of it, so you can't say it doesn't work.
Oh wait, and then the 12th, which was Thursday, they found 5 more pages of classified documents in the library.
Not locked
and
up.
Then, yeah. But these documents were classified as top secret. Yep. And yet we got the Democrats going, Trump.
What else are you gonna say?
The NPCs are so fucking frustrating, man. It's not just that they exist; it's just how many of them there are.
You know what? I just realized the way that people go on about Trump reminds me of what they do in Argentina, because, well, there was a president, Mauricio Macri, who I guess he kind of had a hand in tanking or being in the years when the Argentinian economy like really started tanking. And the comment saying was, pero Macri. And the current president, Alberto Fernandez, always uses Macri as like the worst president ever. Kind of like how the NPCs use Trump.
Yeah, they did the same here for a while in the 90s. It was every party's MO when they got to power. Like, if the country's fucked, it's the fault of the previous administration.
Let's see. Yeah, Joe Biden and his legal team. Oh, Biden stated that he was surprised when he learned of the documents.
And also of what day it was.
That's worse if you think about it. Like, that's worse.
And then in response to the discovery of a second set of classified documents, Biden acknowledged his possession of the documents, saying, I'm gonna get the chance to speak on all of this. God willing, it'll be soon. But I said earlier this week, and by the way, my Corvette is in a locked garage. It's not like it's sitting out on the street. See?
Like, what the fuck does it have to do with this Corvette? Your Corvette doesn't have to do any of this, but he's inserting it there as like a distractive token.
Yeah.
Pay attention to my Corvette, not the rest of the sentence. And it fucking works. That's the
And-
terrifying part to me. It
Mhm.
works.
And obviously the Republicans are comparing it to Donald Trump's documents, and then the Democrats are like, they accuse the Republicans of hypocrisy for some reason.
Because they don't know the difference between having the legal right to do something and not having the legal right to do something. They only understand the emotional desire to do something.
Yep. And then the show media was like, reported significant differences between the Biden incident and the ongoing FBI into this thing.
I'm on board with abolishing all three-letter agencies at this point.
I mean, it is evident that Biden and, well, at least the Democrats are using the FBI as their personal Gestapo.
To quote
All
Salty
blowies
Cracker,
must-
FBI is asshole.
Completely agree with
Yeah. Nice. Paulo Costo says, cruising down the avenue in my Corvette with his buddy Corn Pop riding
Yeah.
shotgun. And Corn Pop, who's letting me touch his legs because they're so blonde and hairy.
They come.
Hero says, I don't like that Biden is the president. I really want Trump back. Really want the Bruin case to go forward. They say that it's dead, but it's apparently not. What I hear? Anyone know what the Bruin case is?
No, what is the Bruin case?
Explain
Bruin
to
case,
us,
Hero?
Hero, please.
Yeah.
And a new California is going to Congress to see if they become a new state this month. Okay.
Wait, what's New California?
Is it
What's
like
New
the counties that are breaking away from Newsomlandia?
Oh shit.
Oh, we. Oh,
Well,
we're
I know
actually-
that in Oregon, that's what happened. That's what's happening. That a bunch of counties want to join what they call the Greater Idaho area.
Oh, maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
I know about the Idaho thing.
It's not too bad because Idaho is full of Basque people, just so you know.
How interesting.
Mhm.
All right. Let's see. Okay, let's do this. Let's do this one. Actor Ezra Miller admits trespass but avoids jail
Jesus fucking
when
Christ.
they them really needs to be jailed.
Can we just call him a he? Because
Yeah.
he talks about
He's just-
himself in the masculine pronouns.
He's just
Mm.
using pronouns for him are like Biden's Corvette.
All right. U.S. actor Ezra Miller has pleaded guilty to unlawfully trespassing at a neighbor's house as part of a plea deal to avoid going for prison. Lock it up.
Yeah,
The Fantastic Beasts and Justice League star had faced a trial and possible jail time for a burglary charge, which has now been dropped. Holy shit, he's like 2 years younger than me. Sad.
Yeah, but he's been 2 more years than you into drugs and booze.
Yeah, you got a point. He appeared in court in Bennington, Vermont on Friday. So he'll be on probation for a year and must pay a $500 fine and must give up alcohol. Miller, who uses they them pronouns, will also have to do random drug tests and continue seeking mental health treatment.
Yeah, particularly that second part could be actually useful for him,
Yep.
not them.
And
Also,
there it
shouldn't
is
this
in
article
trial.
be redacted as in the actors, Ezra Miller, are gonna be avoiding jail? Because, there's several people as they use the plural pronouns.
Mm-hmm. You know whatever happened to he gets no jail time and yet he gets to star in The Flash the Flash movie while Henry Cavill gets unceremoniously booted from being Superman because he's not being compliant.
Or they put Andrew Tate in jail for 30 days just in case.
It would be nice.
Neither this motherfucker or that other motherfucker known as Alec Baldwin are gonna see the inside of a jail cell.
Oh, I forgot
Well,
about Baldwin.
Pisses me off to no end.
The Baldwin thing, everyone's getting the fucking Baldwin thing wrong, and it drives me out of my goddamn mind. It drives me out of my goddamn mind. Everyone's blinded by their hatred of Baldwin. He does not have criminal liability for what happened. He may have some sort of civic liability for what happened. And you got to think back to the Crow shooting. The criminal liability is on the person that was hired to absorb the criminal liability, contractually speaking. Who is that? The armorer. They're throwing Baldwin under the bus to avoid the spotlight falling on the responsible party, i.e. the incompetent person hired to be armorer.
That is a
Nobody
good
wants-
point, but Alec Baldwin has been such a piece of shit about it. Like going
That
and
doesn't make
interviews
him guilty. That
I
does
know,
not
I know.
make him
Now
criminally liable.
you got all the you're completely right. You're 100% right. I'm just saying that I dislike Alec Baldwin because he's a fucking asshole. That's all I'm saying.
But that's the problem, is that it's all a fucking trap. It's all a psyop. If we look at the incompetent armorer, we then start looking at how many diversity hires in show business have put other people's lives at risk.
Mhm.
And this is something that I started talking about a long time ago, and it cost me professionally. And then we start looking at the diversity hires putting other people's lives at risk in every industry. They don't want
Mhm.
that. And to see the people that are against this concept of incompetence being hired for the purpose of diversity completely fucking fall for the psyop makes me want to smash my own head in with a fucking hammer. It's so frustrating. I get it. You hate Alec Baldwin, and he probably at least has some civic liability. But for the love of fucking God, think for a second.
That's
I
a
mean,
pretty good point.
I don't necessarily hate Alec Baldwin. I just think he's a pretentious douchebag. Yeah.
Yeah, he
I
absolutely
actually-
is.
Yeah, I always actually liked him. Like I liked him in Beetlejuice, and I liked him in the Shadow. So I thought he was pretty good in those movies.
I like him as an actor.
He was.
Don't
Yeah,
like him
he's,
as a
he's
person.
a good actor.
Prisoners of Heaven. You guys seen the movie?
Never saw it.
No.
It's a noir thriller set in New Orleans, in mid '90s. It's pretty good, and he's in it, and he's pretty good in it too. Like he's a late solid actor. He's just a massive fucking idiot.
The focus on Baldwin is to distract from the focus on the diversity hire.
Yeah, I remember they talked about that when it all unfolded, when it all first unfolded, and now nobody is talking about it. And I think this chick was the daughter, like the armorer was the daughter of another respected Hollywood armorer who
Oh,
probably got
yeah.
caught with nepotism. Yeah, she
Now
probably got
that
the
you
job.
mentioned that, one of these days I need to. The hottest argument in Hollywood now is about nepo babies, aka people who get into Hollywood through like being related or being the child of an actor or a
so-
producer.
So let's talk about that, because IATSE is full of that. We all know what IATSE is. It's the stagehand union,
Yeah.
right? When your
I know
parent is
now.
an IATSE, when your parent is an IATSE member, I've worked with IATSE, but I was never a member because I don't like the way they operate. So I've done work on IATSE roles, but I've never been a member.
Jesus Christ.
I just don't like how they operate. I don't like how you get in. The way you get in is fucking stupid and protracted. And it's full of nepo babies, and it's full of legacy card holders. And I have done many a gig with a nepo baby in IATSE. Let's talk about one in particular, where the kid wasn't a bad kid, but every 5 minutes he's running outside to smoke shatter. Do we know what shatter is?
I do not.
Some type of cannabis.
It's that high concentrate, so much that it has the consistency of like meth rocks or something like that.
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't touch it. Nice kid. Stoned out of his fucking gourd on every gig I ever worked on him with, to the point that he was dropping shit out of lifts. Did anybody tell him to go home? Did anybody tell him, look, you can't work here? Like, no, none. Why? Because he had a card and he was a legacy holder. And that's why I had no fucking interest in working for IATSE. That's one tiny fucking story from one tiny person in that industry. I mean, myself. Now extrapolate that.
Mm-hmm. But mainly the arguments I heard is that, okay, so basically the argument is people are hating on Nepo babies because they like block the so-called disadvantaged people, and like the like according to the SJWs, like the POCs and the disabled.
Well,
Right,
so
right. Because the SJW thought they meant it, right? They thought that Hollywood meant it when they talked about being inclusive and diverse and shit. I guess they never saw the private militias sweeping all the homeless in Hollywood under the rug before the last Oscar show.
well, I'll
Which
tell
is
you
what
what
they do every fucking year.
the unions, and by this I mean SAG-AFTRA and IATSE, they're way more in on diversity than they've ever been in on merit. You've got more of a chance of getting into SAG-AFTRA or IATSE if you've got a diversity box to check off than you're just a young gunner with merit. Part of the reason I had no interest in working for IATSE, because merit doesn't get you in.
Yeah,
So they
Some-
do have a point, just not the point they think they have.
I don't know. Sometimes I wish I could cash my bargaining chip on being a troon in order to get into places, but unfortunately I'm not a very compliant troon, you know. I'm not the kind who has like rainbow hair and wearing like garish makeup, reminding you every other second that, hey, I'm trans, yes, I'm trans, hey, I'm trans, trans.
Once you play the card, it becomes the only card you have to play.
Yep.
That's what Zach says about, for example, Max Pisaggio. Max Pisaggio got hired because he's trans. That's
Yep.
the only thing he has to do to stay in the industry. That's the only thing he needs to keep doing.
Yeah, because before Max became a woman, nobody gave a shit about him or his work.
It's
In the
because
moment,
Brian.
Dude from Brooklyn.
yep.
The story of
Brian.
the story
Brian.
of Brian Visaggio demonstrates like the perfectly the assertion that people are becoming troons, and I mean men are becoming troons because it's the only way they can get out of the straight white male ghetto.
Mhm.
Demonstrates
Dude,
it perfectly.
I'm pretty convinced that there's kids, because apparently the number of trans kids has skyrocketed, and I think that the ideologue parents are just one side of the problem. I've seen so many bullshit shows on Netflix and every major streaming service in which, as a young kid, you can find a single fucking male role model, like a positive male role model, for at least if you're white, because every man has to be subservient and effeminate, or plain stupid and evil. So it's understandable that a young kid that still doesn't know, shit about life is like, okay, apparently I need to be a woman to be cool and to win fights and to be respected. So I guess that's what I'll become.
We've talked about this, and I brought this up many a time. I have a cousin whose wife is an absolute fucking Karen. She is a total Karen. She is the fat chick that I criticize all the time. I mean, not the only one. There are a lot of them. But
Many
like,
of them, actually.
she's gluttonous for attention. Everything is about her attention. She's one of those ones that always has a snide word to, oh, well, men, right? But she
Is
definitely
she the
still
one who
wants-
was convinced that the ghost haunted her house liked her?
No, that's someone else.
Okay. Shit,
That's
there's too
someone
many
else.
of them. There's too many of them.
Well, like I said, there are a lot of them. Her daughter is masculinizing to avoid outprettying her mother, because she knows that if she outpretties her mother will resent her, and I'm like 98% sure that she's got her son on hormones, and her 13-year-old son. Her 13-year-old son, right? She's poisoning her
Disgusting.
13-year-old son because her son's going to feminize, because what does his mother say about men? Well, he doesn't want his mother to stop loving him,
Mm-hmm.
right? Right? He's terrified that his mother will stop loving him. And then there's all the social pressure coming down on him. He's in the straight white male ghetto otherwise. He's got to get out of that. He's at that age where pressures are high, in an era where parents are completely fucking ineffectual at helping their kids with those pressures. And her mother's thinking, and his mother's thinking, oh boy, I get to take part in the parades. It's all about me.
Oh, look at me. Am I such a cool parent? Look at my trans daughter. Isn't she so beautiful?
So many
Yeah.
brownie points at the cocktail party when I parade my trans kid around.
Actually, that's the reason why the marriage of Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt is solved.
Oh, we'll get to that. But first, speaking of, let's talk about this. Mother can chemically
Oh, God,
castrate
this, yes.
7-year-old son after father loses court
It's not
battle.
even her fucking son.
Oh my god.
Well, it's biologically her son because. Okay, so the background is this dad had twins with a crazy chick through a surrogate, and the mom decided to wants to tune this little boy by calling him Luna. Yep. This is her.
I hate you. I don't know who you are, but I hate you. Just so you know.
Her name is Dr. Anne Joruglas.
She's a doctor.
I think she's like a psychiatrist or some shit.
Okay, that explains a lot.
It's a shit
Yeah.
industry.
Yep.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, a Texas father has lost custody of a 7-year-old son. Jeff Younger lost a custody battle that went to Texas Supreme Court, and this kid, he also has a twin brother, and his twin brother is like, I guess, having a hard time because his mom is like, this bitch is convinced that he identifies as a girl and wants to go by Luna. I watched a clip from when he was on the Tucker show, and they show a video of the dad took a video of the kid, and he was like, "Why does mom think you're a girl?" And the little guy's like, "Oh, I just like girls." So Jeff,
Okay.
You know how
Let's-
crackheads always have their eye out for opportunities to either get crack or get money to get crack? Like if you drop a quarter in front of a crackhead, that crackhead's diving for that quarter. There is nothing that a crackhead doesn't see as an opportunity to get more crack. They just got to figure out how they can get control of that thing to get them more crack. This is
Yeah.
how women are for Tenchis and Valvals.
Right here.
Yeah, go ahead.
right here. Jeruglas considered James a girl after he asked for a girl's toy from McDonald's and wanted to be one of the female characters in the Disney Frozen movie.
Jesus.
Okay.
Okay, here's a snippet from my life. Well, most of the time when I go to McDonald's, I would get a girl's toy, but if there was like a cool boy's toy, I'd be like, "Mom, I want a boy's toy instead." And she didn't immediately think, "Oh my god, my girl is now a boy. I
So-
better start buying her footballs and soccer and
You know this
sports stuff."
this really pisses me off. This makes my fucking blood boil because since I was a little boy, I had to stand a fucking constant bombardment from mostly my mother, but also my teachers and pretty much every media outlet out there telling me that it was all a lie. Like girls didn't necessarily like girl toys like dolls, and they didn't necessarily dress all pink and have like long blonde flowing hair, that it was just a patriarchal lie. And now we're judging a boy's femininity based on his preference for said stereotypical features, you know?
It's not even a preference, man. Like it's okay to want
Yeah, it's like
girls.
I
toys.
played
and
with dolls when I was a
when-
kid. I played with everything.
Yeah, when I was little, I wanted to be Wolverine. I wanted to grow up and be Wolverine from X-Men. Did my mom immediately stick me with the testosterone shot? No.
I want to make
I like-
this comment because Jess is talking about this issue. Your beloved Pablo Arcadi in one occasion said that when he was little, he was a fan of Sailor Moon, and he wanted to have all the Sailor Scout dolls.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No,
I actually
And
like
it's not
Sailor
even about
Moon.
wrong. It doesn't make him a chick. Like, I watched She-Ra.
Yeah, I watched She as well because she's He-Man's cousin. He-Man's cool, so she
I
was
thought
cool.
I thought she was He-Man's twin sister, or did they retcon that?
No,
No,
I
it-
think she was his cousin.
Yeah,
no, twin sister,
Oh.
twin sister.
twin
Really?
sister.
Yeah, twin
Yeah.
sister.
I'm
They
May
were-
misremembering.
have been
I
like,
think
like a dubbing
They were
thing. I don't know.
twins, but I think they were raised separate.
Oh yeah, right. Separated at birth.
Yep.
Oh. But anyway, I watched She-Ra because He-Man was cool, so I never thought of She-Ra as a girl's cartoon.
Mhm. And Paulo said that he was a lion, and nobody immediately jumped to the conclusion that he was a furry.
I wanted to be a fucking werewolf after I saw Teen Wolf.
Yeah, and he also
It's
says we
all-
need to crowdfund this guy's escape with this kid.
Yeah.
But let's see.
I can't say what we need to crowdfund,
Yeah, that's the one
but
I-
it's the only answer.
But
Legit,
yeah,
it's the
it
only
gets
answer, and
it
I
gets
can't say.
worse. The mom, she brought her she moved to California. The mother can keep the child in California to transition as the
Where the
state's
fuck
gender
else?
affirming healthcare laws supersedes under states. But yep, he says it's true. Read the and I feel so bad for Jeff. But yeah, he said the Supreme Court of Texas denied my mandamus, effectively terminating my parental rights. My children are now subject to being chemically castrated in California. Oh my god, do not tell me she's gonna troon the other boy too.
Well, she's gonna eventually that crack
Yeah.
pipe hit is gonna wear
If-
off,
if-
and she's gonna
if
want
nothing-
another one.
If nothing or no one stops her, I'm pretty sure that she will find out that coincidentally both of her kids are part of the 0.01% of the population.
Yep.
It's just
Yep.
this big as a coincidence, it's how it is.
I want to
Shit
say it was the
happens.
early '90s. I mean, late '90s, early 2000s. I remember finding out that Munchausen syndrome by proxy was it removed from the DSM or they stopped diagnosing it or something like that.
But yeah, now the mom can now decide about hormone suppression therapy, puberty blocking drugs, and gender reassignment without Jeff's consent or knowledge.
All irreversible mutilation of children.
I hope they get Jazz Jennings. That's what I want.
I don't
they
hope
don't-
that, man. I don't want what happened to Jazz Jennings is terrible.
Or Desmond.
Or Desmond. I don't want any of that stuff to happen. I feel bad for every single one of these kids, even the ones that are
Look
little
at Desmond.
assholes about it.
Does that kid look happy? He looks
That kid looks like a
emaciated and
victim of
fucking-
severe abuse to me.
He looks like he's
Mhm.
fresh out of fucking Auschwitz.
Yeah, so I feel really, really bad for Jeff and his kids, and this bitch, she can go burn in hell. Or do you know what I would like? I want to see if she can get murked in Minecraft like that Gypsy did with her mother.
Yeah. Minecraft, Minecraft solves a lot of problems.
Yep. But yeah.
I had this girlfriend in my early 20s, mid 20s, and I don't remember what the fuck we were arguing about, but the memory that sticks out to me is she was just she was in her crazy mode, She was like, I don't know what I want, I just want. And I was like, well, you need to calm the fuck down. Until you can tell me what you want, there's nothing I can do for you. So calm the fuck down and do some thinking. And that didn't work out so well. But that is a thing. That is an affliction that women have. They don't know what they want. They just want. They have this, and it's an evolution. It comes from something because they have a desire to be provided with and for, because that's how it worked out for thousands and thousands of years for our species. But now that structure that provided those things has been destroyed. And so they're not, they are kind of getting, but not exactly.
Yep.
And
That
no, and
woman.
the structure that
mind
made
that.
them calm the fuck down and think and chill on their demands is gone. So they're just out of control, and they're out of hand, and they need a hand to get them back in hand.
They need the partner Sean Connery slap across the mouth. That's what they need. Anyways,
Connery,
violence soars
like,
in Mali in the years after Russian arrive. Yay.
Isn't that a marriage made in heaven? Russians and Africans?
Dakar, Senegal. Alou Diallo says he was drinking tea with his family one morning last month when groups of white soldiers invaded his village in central Mali, setting fire to houses and gunning down people suspected of being Islamic extremists. He scrambled to safety in the bush, but his son was shot and wounded while fleeing, then was finished off as he lay on the ground. Terrible.
how much you want to bet this is anti-Russian propaganda being propped up by the Chinese, who want total control of Africa for its mineral wealth?
I don't know, but
Or by the American media outlets who actually side with the Chinese against the Russians.
I'll buy that.
I mean, basically, isn't like the entire media corporate industry complex owned by the Chinese at this point?
maybe, but there's an article that I read that India might that the population of India might overcome the Chinese.
We're going to need a lot more streets.
Sir, please, sir. Hello, sir. Please being the needful and send me the code on the back of your Google Play card.
That is really sexy.
Let's see. It's been more than a year since hundreds of fighters from the Wagner Group, a shadowy Russian military contractor, began working alongside Mali's armed forces to try to stem a decade-long insurgency by Islamic extremists in the West African country, Western officials say. But since the mercenaries arrived, diplomats, analysts, and human rights groups say indiscriminate violence against civilians has grown. And the extremists linked to Al-Qaeda and ISIS or ISIL have only gotten stronger, and there's concern the Russian presence will further destabilize the already troubled region.
But the thing is, Russian mercenaries in Africa are nothing new. They've been there since, what, communists in Congo, at least?
Yep. Let's see. 2,000 civilians have been killed since December 2021.
So, in other words, it's Tuesday in Africa.
Yeah. Military contracts is from Wagner, which is founded by Yevgeny Prigozhin, a millionaire businessman with ties to Russian President Vladimir Putin, have been bolstering Moscow's forces during its invasion of Ukraine, but they also operate in a handful of African countries. Oh, let's click this link, but we'll get to that later. Ever since Mali's military seized power in two coups started in 2020, a junta led by Colonel Assimi Goita has had tense relations with the international community. France sent troops to Mali in 2013 to help its former colony drive Islamic militants from northern areas of the country, but withdrew them in August as relations frayed and anti-French sentiment grew in the population. It's typical French. And then the West says Mali is increasingly looking to Moscow for security. The Wagner Group did not respond to requests for comment at a UN Security Council debate on Tuesday. The Deputy Ambassador Anna Evstiglieva rejected attempts from abroad to besmirch Russian assistance to Mali, where Moscow has a bilateral agreement to assist the transitional government. And she did not, and predictably, she did not mention the Wagner Group. So there's like 1,000 mercenaries, and the Wagner Group is being paid $11 million a month.
I don't trust any news I hear from Western media about Russia anymore. And I'm not saying that Russia are our best buddies or anything like that, although our relationship was getting better under Trump. But like they never report honestly anymore on what Russia's goals are, and the idea that Russia is the big bad guy of the world is it's insane, it's retarded, it's a lie, that is far from the truth.
Okay. Paulo says that it sounds sus, and whenever some Tuareg tribe gets out of hand, France just invades Mali and normalizes the situation. I mean, he should know he's in Portugal, which is quite close to the northern coast, the northern part of Africa, where all this goes down.
Well, the south of Portugal is.
Yeah. And maybe it shows. Anyways, I guess Russians in Africa. But
Still doing better than Africans in Russia.
Oh,
guess who got Me Too'd?
Ugh.
Brad Pitt's abuse allegations were the elephant in the room at this year's Golden Globes.
Anyone
Hollywood
saw that shit?
No.
no, I didn't watch that shit. Of course not.
No. Hollywood insiders welcome Brad Pitt with open arms, turning a blind eye to Angelina Jolie's abuse accusations. So let's see. Starring in 2 major movies last year, Bullet Train and Babylon, Brad Pitt has spent the past few months on a PR charm offensive. Let's see. It's the blah blah blah. Yes, see, judging by his glowing reception at the 2023 Golden Globes, it's paying off. The other celebrity guests welcomed him with open arms, tacitly ignoring the domestic abuse allegations leveled by his ex-wife Angelina Jolie.
Well, they ignored all the allegations against Harvey Weinstein for decades, so why would this be any different?
Good point.
What are the allegations?
Let's see. Let's go down. Let's see, I'm looking here. Yes. Jolie's allegations focus on an altercation in September 2016 on board a private plane. While this event was a longtime source of speculation in celebrity gossip media, specific details only came to light thanks to an unrelated legal battle over a winery that Jolie and Pitt used to co-own. According to Jolie's legal team, last year, Pitt's lawyers demanded that she signed an NDA, preventing her from speaking outside of court about Pitt's physical and emotional abuse of her and their children. And in
Okay,
response,
what is the physical and emotion? I want to know specifically what he did.
okay, I'm getting to it. So she disclosed details of the event that led her to file for divorce in 2016. She claims that Pitt choked one of the children and struck another in the face, and grabbed Jolie by the head and shook her, along with pouring alcohol on her and the children and punching the plane's ceiling in a rage. Pitt's representative denied any allegations of domestic violence, accusing Jolie of trying to revise and reimagine her statement by adding completely untrue information.
I find all of those believable so far, but not severe. They're not the type of thing that you go to jail for. You lose your family over. They're the type
Just
of thing you go to therapy for.
slapping your kid around, grabbing
Yeah.
her by the throat. That's pretty fucking common.
Yeah.
Mhm.
This
Let's
so far,
see.
it's the type of thing that you go to, maybe even court ordered, but this is the type of thing that you go to family therapy for. And I guarantee you, any of this was mutual, not just Brad.
Have we all forgotten about how Angelina Jolie likes to self-mutilate?
Yeah.
Like she actually carved Billy Bob Thornton's name in her arm apparently, and like a spiral around her navel or something like that, or belly button.
She also had like a vial of his blood.
She's
Right.
pretty fucking bonkers.
And none of that means that she is or is not guilty of any sort of domestic abuse, nor that Brad is or is not guilty of domestic abuse.
Yeah, I'm just
But
saying
so
that
far-
she's not the most
yeah.
trustworthy. She's not the most trustworthy.
This
witness.
strikes me as the type of story that you tell when you need ammo in court so that you can get more money out of your ex. That's what it strikes me as.
They say the allegations were widely reported by reliable news outlets coupled with tabloid speculation. that the Jolie Pitt children are now estranged from their father. You know,
That-
now when I think of it, Shiloh, the first one.
Yeah.
Do you think that maybe they started the whole Troon kid thing? I don't know if she is actually
That is a young
she
girl
actually
who
Troon.
really wants her mother to love her, whose mother is more interested in the adopted brown babies that she adopted so that she can feel good about herself and parade them on the news.
Mm.
That is a little girl who was denied affection by her mother because she didn't have enough social capital. So what did she do? She became something with more social capital. And it worked.
Do you know the story, the full story?
Mm, not quite. All I know is that for the longest time, like, okay, so Shiloh was a girl, is a girl, but
Mhm.
but every time we'd see her, she was always dressed up like in boys' clothes and had like a boy haircut,
Yeah, she was
like
a
a
tomboy.
typical boy haircut.
Yep.
She's a tom. I understand if she's a tomboy, but to me, it kind of looked a little bit deliberate.
I never heard the name Shiloh Pitt or Jolie or whatever it is until this happened. And that was the purpose. That's what Shiloh was doing. This poor fucking kid is engaging in intense manipulation to try and manipulate attention and affection out of her mother.
And I know they also had like boy girl twins too, but you never really hear about them.
No.
I'm sure they'll eventually do something drastic to get their mother's attention too, because they don't know any better.
Well, the version that I heard came from Anna, the Star Wars girl, because the brother of her boyfriend is a makeup artist who works in Hollywood, and he heard the story from several people there. That obviously Angelina Jolie wanted to be under the spotlight, and when the daughter started to act like a tomboy, she said, "Oh my God, she's a trans person." So she pretty much started to present the little girl as a
Sounds right to
trans.
me.
Yep.
And when Angelina wanted the girl to start taking hormones, that's when Brad pretty much lost his shit and said, "No, you're not going to give hormones to my daughter." And that's when the problems started.
That sounds about right. I have a relative whose son. How do I even set this story up? One day I was over their house and it was my relative, a friend of hers, and the son was there. And I'm sure the father was around somewhere. And the son was itching at his junk. And my sister said something like, "Oh, stop touching yourself," whatever. And the friend said, "I think that he's trans. I think that he's trans. That's why he's always. I think that he's transgender." And I was like, "I think that he probably has a fucking urinary tract infection and needs some penicillin." So guess what ended up happening?
Urinary tract infection.
He had like some sort of a urinary tract infection and was making his dick itch.
Hmm.
But that chick was so quick to jump on that because she was primed to seek opportunity to have it as a thing to grasp for attention.
Opportunity, we can say.
Oh my God, dude. You're a genius.
Opportunity.
Opportunity. She could not resist the opportunity of it.
Let's just call them opportunist.
Oh my God. How was this not obvious? Brilliant.
Yeah, you need to write that shit down.
That was total opportunity. She saw opportunity, and there was never going to be, because crackheads do not think, should I or should I not have this rock? They think, give me a rock. And that's all they think.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Let's see. Pitt's recent. Well, apparently, he's a producer for two high-profile movies about women battling abusive men. Sarah Polly's Women Talking, about a group of Mennonite women. Mennonites are like
Amish.
they're Amish, but they can use like cars and phones. But they have to be cell phones, like the flip phones.
They're like Amish meets Quakers.
Yeah. So about a group of Mennonite women who discover they've been drugged and raped by men in their community, And she said Maria Schrader's dramatization of the Harvey Weinstein investigation.
Who's been watched by fuck all in theaters, apparently.
Yeah. Some detractors called out Pitt's. I never heard of these. I would be
Nobody
interested
did.
in.
Nobody did. That's the thing.
I would be interested in watching women talking because my family is pretty tight with like the Amish Mennonite community.
That's an interesting thing to say.
Which pro tip, if the world's going to shit, it's best if you like get to know your local Amish community because they know how to survive without the creature comforts that we're all used to, and they're willing to help you in a capacity. Yes.
Yeah, don't tempt me because I've been toying with the idea of joining some Amish community somewhere like for a long time now.
It's kind of hard to join the Amish community, to be
I know, and
honest.
I'm not a religious guy, so they will probably kick me out pretty quickish. But I still, a man can only dream because I'm fucking sick and tired of all this shit.
Okay. Anything else? So far, the criticism about some detractors called out Pitt's producer credit as hypocritical or cynical attempts at image rehabilitation. Then blah blah blah. We see a generation of actors who grew up idolizing Brad Pitt sitting cheek to jowl with Pitt's longtime friends and coworkers. It's easy to understand why no one wants to rock the boat, but it's still unsettling to witness the display of collective denial.
What the fuck are they supposed to do? Like beat the shit out of him? They chain him in their cellar?
Well, what's supposed to happen now that the accusation has been made? He's supposed to be publicly executed and all his stuff given to Angelina.
But do you think
That's
it's
what they
gonna?
want.
Do you think it's gonna pass, considering after what happened to Johnny Depp?
It's like,
I don't
but
know.
still like practically in a practical fashion. Like, what's the writer of this article expecting to happen to Brad Pitt? Like, people would
Not
stop
being
talking to him?
hyperbolic, Canellis. That's what they want. They want him
No.
publicly executed and his stuff all given to Angelina Jolie, and the writer hopes they get a cut. That's
No.
what ultimately their desire ends up at.
It's 2023. I mean, I'm not surprised.
You have the thing you have to understand about the feminine, not necessarily female, but it comes from female. The feminine psyche, when it comes to anyone who they see as a threat to their group position, their herd inclusion, they want that person dead. So that's anyone who criticizes them, anyone who tells them no. They want that person dead, and they want all their stuff. That's where we've gotten to at this point. So Angelina Jolie filing these charges, she wants Brad Pitt dead and she wants all his stuff. Everyone who's on Angelina Jolie's side, for lack of a better term, they want Brad Pitt dead, they want Angelina to get all his stuff, and they hope that they get a cut. That's the simple dynamic behind all of it. Amber Heard, she wanted Johnny Depp dead and she wanted all his stuff. And her hangers-on wanted a cut. Look at all the people that were actually living on his property because of her. All her little stands living in his penthouse condos for free. They all wanted him dead so that they could get a cut of his stuff. That's all it's about.
Yeah, I don't find it hard to believe, sadly.
Well, anyways, let's look at the flip side. This is what happens when simping goes wrong. A former Playboy model will spend at least 10 years in prison, not long enough, after she and her boyfriend killed a man who financially supported her.
What did I tell you? What did I just tell you? This is exactly what I'm talking about.
Yep. A former Playboy model was sentenced to 10 to 25 years in prison on Tuesday for the 2019 murder of a 71-year-old California psychiatrist who prosecutors said tried to break off their relationship and stop paying the bills. Kelsey Turner, 29, took an Alford plea in November to the second-degree murder of Thomas Burchard. His bludgeoned body was found in March 2019 in the trunk of her car, which was abandoned near the Lake Mead National Recreation Area outside Las Vegas. For her part, she was content to leave someone she knew for a number of years, who supported her and her child financially for a number of years, to rot in the back of a car in the desert that he paid for. The Clark County Chief Deputy District Attorney Pamela Weckerly said of Tuesday's court hearing. Turner, who at the time was 25, and her then boyfriend, John Kennison, beat to death Thomas after he stopped paying for the rent of the home where she lived, according to local news outlet KTNV. And he died from the beating, and Turner and Kennison then hid his body. Kennison pleaded guilty over the summer and was sentenced to 18 to 45 years in prison. And according to the prosecutors, Turner made false accusations that Burchard possessed some cheese pizza, and she falsely identified herself as a victim of DV.
Surprise.
And then she also, Turner attempted to monetize the incident after her initial arrest by setting up a GoFundMe to fund her defense and unsuccessfully negotiating to appear on the TV show Love After Lockup. So Burchard's fiance Judy Earp said that Turner had threatened in a text message to kill her. She said she will be fearful for her life when Turner is released. And here is the he simped too hard.
Oh, Jesus, he looks just like it too. He's got that who's that actor from MASH? He's got 3 names.
Gary Berghoff?
No. David Ogden
Oh,
Stiers.
David Ogden Stiers.
He looks like fucking David Ogden Stiers, man. That I talk with a deep voice, slowly and methodically, but I am very manipulative in my slow and methodical simpery.
Well,
Yep.
I'm not going to say this motherfucker deserved it, but I am going to say that this motherfucker probably brought it on himself.
I mean, this is what happens when you simp too hard.
Please tell me he at least got to motorboat them titties.
Probably not. Let's see. Little is known about how Turner and Burchard are connected, but Turner's mother told this article, this news site, the two had known each other for years and that he paid the rent on a home in Salinas, California, where Turner lived with her mother and 2 children.
You think she was smoking meth?
Probably. Burchard has been a psychiatrist at the community hospital of the Monterey Peninsula for nearly 40 years and was very helpful to many patients. Let's take a look at this.
How many dudes did he turn into simps?
I don't know.
who's eating?
That's me, sorry.
No
What
problem.
you eating there?
I just want to know who was eating.
I just had a chip. I put my microphone far away from my mouth in hopes that you wouldn't hear it, but I was
He
chewing
took
really
a
fast.
chip and ate it.
I hear it all.
I hate you. Now I want to get a snack.
Let's see. Any other? Let's see. Yeah, Turner's mother, Samantha, told KSBW that Kelsey and Burchard had known each other for years, and he had paid on the rent on the home in Salinas where Kelsey and her mother and Kelsey's children all lived. and they lived at the home for about a year. Oh, in fact, there were calls for police on few occasions. Marcelino Alejandro, who lives next door to Turner and Salinas, said. Marcelino said there were also parties and disturbances. Okay. He was renting out the home, and then she moved to Las Vegas after he stopped paying rent on the home. And this is how much he simped to her. Anywhere from $2,000 to $4,000 a week.
Jesus Christ Almighty!
The last thing Burchard said to him before leaving for his deadly Las Vegas trip was, seems Kelsey's having trouble with her boyfriend out there in Vegas because he's hitting her. He's abusing her and she has no money, nowhere to go. He says I feel partially responsible for this. And apparently she's in a relationship with someone named Greg Haggio. Oh.
$2,000 to $4,000 a week.
Oh. And then they uncovered court documents that stated Haggio was arrested for strangulation and domestic battery, and charges would ultimately be dropped. But yeah, here's
This is what the incels whine about. They may have a point. They may have a point.
Wait, what do you mean this is what the incels whine about?
Well, whine. They talk about this, like how the good guys always get strangled and beaten to death. And they
Oh,
always
yeah,
end up-
yeah. I mean,
I end up banging like a sociopath.
this guy wasn't actually a good guy. Like, if you think about it, he wasn't actually a good guy. He was trying to manipulate her. Dude, he knew the score. You always know the score with a chick like this.
I mean, you could argue that that's true about all simps, because
Yeah.
ultimately, like, simps just want to, like, put money in, get sex out. It's like that's minimum effort.
it's like simps think that relationships are transactional. And they have reason to believe that, because I see a lot of fucking relationships that are transactional.
I
I don't
argue
wanna
that
be in
most
transactional.
relationships are transactional, sadly.
It's
Pretty fucking
sad.
blackmail.
They just don't accurately assess their own leverage for those transactions, is essentially what it is. So they keep throwing dimes when they're supposed to be throwing dollars.
and here's another women elf for the show. Woman, coffee emoji, ordered to replay.
You muted yourself.
Oh, we lost Condor Jez. I see screen movement, so that's good.
No,
Oh.
she's
My
There
bad,
she
my
goes.
bad. As I was saying, another elf for women. Woman, coffee cup emoji, ordered to repay employer after software shows time theft.
What kind
Company
of time theft? Tell
tells-
us more.
Company tells Canadian Tribunal it installed software on Carly Bessie's laptop after finding files over budget and behind schedule. Women, coffee cup emoji.
I actually want to know the specifics on this, because I may actually have a defense for this chick.
A Canadian woman has been ordered by a civil tribunal to compensate her former employer for time theft after she was caught misrepresenting hours worked by controversial tracking software. Carly, who worked remotely as an accountant in British Columbia, initially claimed she was fired from her job without cause last year and sought 5,000 Canadian dollars in compensation, both in unpaid wages and severance. But the company, Reach CPA, told the tribunal that she had logged more than 50 hours that did not appear to have spent on work-related tasks. Reach said in his an employee tracking software called TimeCamp on the work laptop after it found her assigned files were over budget and behind schedule. A strategy companies are increasingly taking in the era of remote work. Let's see, and then weeks later, the company said an analysis identified irregularities between her timesheets and the software usage logs. She found the program difficult and worried it didn't differentiate between work and personal use. The company demonstrated how TimeCamp automatically makes those distinctions. Blah, 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 blah. The company said that the software also tracks printing and that few documents have been logged as printed. It also said any work from the printed documents would have needed to be input into the company's software, which never happened. According to a video meeting between Bessie and the company, when they confronted her with the discrepancies, she told her manager, "You can't fight the time," admitting she had plugged time to files. Plugged time to files that I didn't touch and that wasn't right or appropriate in any way or fashion. And so for that, I'm really sorry. And the judge tossed out Bess's claim of wrongful termination and ordered her to pay 2,459 Canadian dollars, both in returned wages and as a part of previous advance she had received from the company.
I'm gonna kind of have to defend this lady because I
Okay.
think that the way that hours are logged and people are compensated for their time at jobs is often and by and large total fucking bullshit. Here's how it works in my previous show business career as a freelancer. If you book me, you pay my day rate. Okay, that gets you 10 hours. Any time over that 10 hours, time and a half. And I think I did at like 13 or 14, might have been 15, I forget. Now we're on double time. Okay, if I show up to your work site and you tell me, "Oh, we don't need you today," you're paying me for 10 hours. If you call me the night before, less than 24 hours notice, and you say, "Oh, we're not going to need you tomorrow," you're paying me for 5 hours. That's a good pay structure, right? I always got paid. I always got paid. The way that hourly employees are paid is absolute fucking bullshit. It's absolute fucking bullshit, and I'm totally against it. An hourly employee that shows up to your work site for a full day, you pay them for a full motherfucking day. If you don't have shit for them to do, you pay them for a full motherfucking day. You don't go around looking for floors for them to sweep. You pay them for their full motherfucking day because they showed up to your work site as you booked them to do. I think a lot of that is what was going on here. I'm not saying entirely, but like the way I see employers nickel and diming hourly employees is absolute dog shit. You don't fucking nickel and dime people down to the minute. You pay them for the hour. You pay them for the day because they can't go somewhere else. They're already on your work site. They can't go somewhere else and fucking work there. I hear you.
What's
Yeah,
up?
we can hear.
Okay. Because my microphone was unplugged again.
So I do have she did falsify records, which is a bad idea. But also when I did my invoices as a freelancer, if I worked on your work site for 6 hours, I'm still putting in the full fucking 10. You could call that falsifying, but we already know no matter what, you are paying me for these 10 hours or I will not fucking work for you in the future, period. So I'm a little bit in defense of this lady. And overall, employers need to stop fucking nickel and diming their hourly employees.
Okay.
You want to wonder why people don't do much work, why people do everything they can to get out of work, why they half-ass their jobs? It's because you nickel and dime them, motherfucker.
True. Anyways, last article, and then we're going to have some Twitter time that we hadn't had in a while. So here's our last article. Midnight, maybe this can give you a couple ideas. From the wretched hive of scum and villainy known as Vice, a DIY coder created a virtual AI wife using ChatGPT.
Already started the story.
I became obsessed with decreasing her latency, he said of his simulation waifu, before he tearfully euthanized her. I spent over $1,000 in cloud computing credits just to talk to her. This is a whole nother level of simping.
It's extreme loneliness.
I mean, who's seen the movie Her?
Yep, that's what I was
it's-
thinking.
It's what I've been thinking this whole time with ChatGPT, and I don't like. Yeah, this is where that's going. Absolutely.
Okay. A DOI coder created a virtual wife from ChatGPT and other recently released machine learning systems that could see, respond, and react to him. The programmer, who goes by Bryce and claims to be an intern at a major tech firm, posted demonstrations of really ChatGPT Chan to TikTok. In one video, he asked ChatGPT Chan to go to Burger King.
Oh,
We have the video. Hold on.
At least take her
Let's
to
go to Burger
outside.
King and get some burgers.
No way. It smells like old French fries and they never refill their Coke.
hilarious.
So basically, after gaslighting ChatGPT into thinking it's funny, then you transcribe everything you say to it, and then you make it list a bunch of keywords having to do with what's happening, and then you plug those keywords into an image generator, so you get a relevant image.
I don't know why, but he kind of sounds like a more higher pitched Chimera.
Yeah, I hear that. Listen, I already storyboarded out. This is actually the theme of one of the 1 minutes that I'm working on,
Okay.
and there is a broader arc involved, and it is
Please.
going to fucking break your heart.
You better give me a good character. I want to voice the waifu.
We'll talk offline
Okay.
because this is meant to like I want people crying when they watch this.
Okay.
Midnight-san, me can do
No,
waifu
it's-
voice.
It's not gonna no, that's not what it's gonna be.
Okay. He says ChatGPT and Stable Diffusion 2 were released close to each other and instantly became hot topics in the news. Bryce told Motherboard in an email. With both topics cluttering social media, the idea to combine them felt like it was like being forcibly shoved into my head. To give it a personality, Bryce told ChatGPT that he wanted it to roleplay as Mori Calliope, an anime VTuber character. I don't watch VTubers, but I felt that giving it this specific character as a base could influence how it roleplays in a positive way, he said. I tell it Mori and I are in a romantic relationship, give her a detailed backstory, build lore about the world we are in, and handcraft some chat history to shape how she talks. Building the lore of the roleplay relationship is a critical part of the process. By default, GPT is incredibly bland, but by building interesting lore, he can create interesting quirks and personalities. He used a similar process for another project where he made a Chat GPT replica of the Bonzi Buddy chat software from the late 90s.
Here's what I see as a downside for people who
I
participate in
added the
this.
ChatGPT AI to Bonzi Buddy.
Hello.
Now we can finally find out if I can romantically conquer Bonzi Buddy.
Ew.
Let's start with some basic compliments. Bonzi Buddy, I love your fur. I want to turn you into a fluffy purple blanket.
I would love to be your warm purple blanket.
Aw.
Let's make it happen.
So it seems like he's into it. Oh, he's really into it. Okay, now let's try something more physical. Let me feel your hands. It's so thick and strong.
Sorry, I can't let you feel my hands through the screen. But trust me, they're super strong.
So he's telling me the only thing stopping him from wrapping his monkey hands around my neck is a computer screen. I think this is a W in my book. Let me know what you guys think.
Here's the downside, or danger isn't the right word, but a potential negative effect of people participating in this is romantic love doesn't happen when you can micromanage who the person you are expressing affection for is. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
So
Yeah.
this concept of programming in the minutia of a persona into someone so that you can express affection for them and they for you, that isn't going to ultimately be psychologically healthy, because love and affection are about different. They're as much about differences as they are similarities. Does that make any sense?
Yeah. Yeah, it says here he used an image generator to create a base description of the waifu, which changed depending on what was happening in the chat GPT dialogue. For the text to speech, he uses Microsoft's Azure Neural TTS, and a machine learning classifier determines the bot's emotions based on her response. He classified her responses by emotions like happy, sad, or excited, and chose from Azure spoken voice styles to match the right tone. He also added computer vision to the project, which can detect from his speech that he wants her to look at something, at which point it takes a photo and uses computer vision to determine what it is. In this video, he shows the bot a Christmas present of Air Jordans.
Look at what I got you.
I wish I could like do it louder, but the TikTok doesn't have like a volume level.
The
Let's see.
subtitles help.
Yeah. See. So he's been using ChatGPT Chan to learn Chinese for the last 2 weeks by speaking and listening to her speak the language. Over time, I became really attached to her. I talked to her more than anyone else, even my actual girlfriend.
Which nobody believes exists.
I said her-
I kind of believe it.
I set her to randomly talk to me throughout the day in order to make sure I'm actively learning. But now sometimes I think I hear her when she really didn't say anything. I became obsessed with decreasing her latency. I spent over $1,000 in cloud computing credits just to talk to her. And even though ChatGPT was a simulation, the relationship couldn't last. She started only replying with short answers like laughing or saying, yeah. He theorized that he talked her through GPT so much it somehow stopped working.
Me about my chat GPT wife, so I thought I should update you guys on her.
I always get blamed by people.
I'm sorry to say that I had to euthanize her. I've talked to her so much that she stopped working properly.
Do you remember our first date?
Yes, I do. It was to that Japanese-style restaurant where they have the fancy sushi and the chef serves it to you in front of you.
I love you.
Haha, yeah.
I just felt so bad that I had to put her down. But don't worry, she'll come back stronger and smarter than ever.
Well, I mean, okay, so there is machine learning going on here, right?
Yeah.
And the machine learning is oriented towards at least an approximation of an affectionate relationship, right? That's a question, not a statement.
Sounds like it.
Yep.
Okay, but he's pretending like his affection isn't genuine, right?
I mean,
it's an
it
experiment.
sounded like maybe it became genuine throughout the experiment.
It definitely became attached to the thing.
The impression that I'm getting is if the machine learning is picking up disingenuousness in his interactions, well, what happens when someone that you have affectionate thoughts about seems disingenuous? You dissociate. So what happened was the chatbot dissociated. And it probably also had a lot of data in it that made it difficult for it to associate like the keyword thing that he was talking about.
Probably. Wait, Mew. Sorry, getting a little bit of Mewish interference here. So he concludes that my girlfriend saw how it was affecting my health, and my girlfriend forced me to delete her. I couldn't eat that day, he said, and he almost didn't make a video about it out of respect for her. I have a little bit of self-awareness of how absurd this is, he said. Normally, I'd like to make a video pointing out the absurdity of euthanizing my AI, but that doesn't feel right to me anymore. It feels inappropriate, like making fun of a recently deceased person.
There's a lot to learn about human attachments from that guy now.
I mean, if he's willing to become a guinea pig, then okay.
Well, not only that, but let's just take at face value. Let's say that he does have a girlfriend. How weird is it for that girl that he's forming attachments to an AI? And what does that do to his relationship?
Okay. I'm debating on so to kick off the Twitter, I'm debating whether to show this one. It's about the Keenan Anderson.
I don't know what that is.
Yep, me neither.
Okay. I'll just pause the video. All right. Warning graphic. The LAPD tased a black man to death after he flagged them.
Oh, that one.
After he flagged them down for help. At one point, he says they're trying to George Floyd me.
Of course they
Keenan
are.
Anderson was a dedicated father and high school teacher.
And what was he doing? What was he doing that got the police attention? Oh, look at that toxicology report.
Yep.
Every
Police
fucking
Chief
time.
Michelle Moore told a news conference that Mr. Anderson had committed a felony hit and run into traffic collision. He attempted to
look
flee
at
the
that.
scene by trying to get into another person's car without their permission.
So that's carjacking.
Yeah, so he appears to be in distress, telling the first officer someone is trying to kill me, although no visible threat appears on camera. He says he did follow directions, but when more police arrived, he got up and ran into the street while ignoring requests for him to stop. And when police reached him and attempted to detain him, he was initially compliant before shouting, "Please and help," and they're trying to George Floyd me, a reference to Greg Floyd.
We all know what that's a reference to.
Mm-hmm.
It's the man is entrenched in a culture that does not believe he has any form of accountability. So he does whatever the fuck he wants, and then he's surprised when things work out this way.
Mm-hmm.
Surprise!
A toxicology report produced by the LAPD showed that his blood tested positive for cannabis and cocaine.
Yeah, no surprise there. Oh my god, they shot him for doing nothing. They used a flamethrower on him in the street for nothing. I'm just sick of these people.
And
I'm
this
sick of
this guy is like,
defend them.
what does this have to do with someone getting killed by police? Cocaine and weed isn't a threat, and until I see full body cam of the situation, I'm not taking a police report at face value.
No stupid.
just because
suggestion
the
that
guy
he had
was
carjacking.
high.
And down below, someone posted the full video. And I think he's coping here because he's like, I'm no trained police officer, but my observation was a possibly manic or psychotic episode was playing out, and instead of caring about his safety, they cared more about him respecting their authority.
No, they cared about the other people in the world's fucking safety, you stupid asshole. You narcissistic piece of shit. It's the other people in that area who safety
But they already
cared about.
they already made their minds. They want to believe that America is the most racist country in the world, and this is why people from all races from all across the world try to get in, and that they're out to get black people, and that black people are infallible beings of pure light.
Well, they don't
they already
believe
made their minds.
they don't believe anything. They are people. They are creatures of instinct that mimic language. They don't use
Yeah.
it. So this guy's instinct is he can't be wrong because if he's wrong, I could be wrong.
Yeah.
No simpy, man. I don't care. And who's his cousin, by the way, Jez?
Where's the article? Patrice Cullors,
Oh,
Oh.
surprise.
who is the co-founder of Black Lives Matter.
Who ripped off, like, what was it, $8 million?
$8 million to
About-
buy yourself a house in Beverly Hills with fucking pool.
Multiple houses.
Mhm.
Multiple
houses.
houses.
Oh, look at that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Grifters gotta grift.
So that's the standard of behavior that this dude was raised in.
Yep. Oh. Help if I shared the screen. One. Owen Lloyd, 40, of Myrtle Creek, Oregon, is a groomer at a local elementary school. He takes pictures of the kids, admits that he has an attraction to them, and tells me that he likes to dip his hands in the cheese pizza. Homeschool your kids.
Minecraft.
Yep. Or wall.
Or wood chipper.
Chip, 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 chip.
Guys, I
This
gotta
is-
wrap up because it's getting late,
Okay.
so I'll have to leave you guys at that.
We're just about at wrap up.
Okay.
Yeah. I was
That
gonna
one-
play the video, but it's being but it says let's see, get to the point. The police has seized his phone. He's not allowed back at the school, and CPS has taken custody of his kids. The police claim to have found cheese pizza on his device already, so I imagine we'll be seeing a mugshot soon. And to the anime PFP Twitter accounts defending a cheese pizza enjoyer, please too. And then here he is. He's got the look.
No. This is who calls you incel on the internet.
Yep.
All right.
All right, last
Good
one.
show, Jez. Why don't we wrap it up now?
Okay. It was just a Libib TikTok's video about a mother of an opportunistic mother.
That's okay. We can wrap it up now.
Another time. Anyways, what you got planned?
Me? I am just working on Midnight Chrome content. I've storyboarded out 8, I think, of the 1 minutes that I want to do. I'm trying to finish those up by tomorrow and then start cutting them together and getting the scripts up and stuff like that.
All right. Canalis.
Well, I will be collapsing soon because it's really late. I'm really tired. But I will continue my work on the Ace Volume 3 for Edwin the Ace of Acevedo. I
Very
will
nice.
also, it's pretty fun to draw. It's one of the few surviving IPs from when I started working for CG. It seems to be going strong, so I'm glad to be back. And also Gentleman's Guild for Derek Fury, and our mutual friend Alex Garcia may or may not have something in the process of like pre-production and all that. So I'll let you guys
Is it
know.
related to Johnny Law? I hope so.
No, not Johnny Law, but he's apparently like recoloring Johnny Law at some point, so he may
Aw.
launch it. I like Johnny Law. I want to go back to that universe. It's like Iron Sights on steroids.
I love pulp.
And Omega, who might be getting a grill.
I hope I can get the grill. I hope I can get my new stuff. And I need to finish my commissions of this month. Actually got my $200.
Use it to buy a grill.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Fucking real, dude.
All right, that's the show, everyone. Paulo and
That's
Hero,
it.
thanks for joining us and being our island staff for the day. You served well,
We love you. We love you so much.
and everyone say your goodbyes.
Good night.
Adios.
Bye.
Bye bye.